Hey everybody, Chuck Barone here. It is a crazy Wednesday, July the 12th, 2023. CPI day, baby. We knew this was coming, and pretty surprising numbers, I gotta say. So anyway, before we get rolling with the show, as always, let me welcome everybody to the show. Thank you guys for your support. We really appreciate you guys watching these videos and all you do for us every day, guys. Keep that going, man. We appreciate you. All right, so let's look at these markets today. So we knew today was going to be a big day. We knew the CPI numbers were coming. We knew that, the number was probably not going to be a neutral one. It was either going to be a hit or a miss on their estimates. And depending how those numbers went, the market would react accordingly. Well, they were pretty close on their estimates. Inflation, at least the numbers they're presenting to us, continuing to come down. Sparks a nice rally in the markets today. So the stock market up nicely. The Dow up 86 points, 34,314. The S&P up 32 points, 4472. They were talking 4,500 target for the end of the year for the S&P. So the S&P doing well this year. The NASDAQ jumps 158 points, 13,918 points on the NASDAQ. So a decent day for the markets, been a decent week. They've been on a run for about 4 or 5 days in a row now. And, these are not colossal gains, but it's nice to see the market having some kind of upbeat groove to it. Earnings continue to come in and the misses are not big ones. And so the market looks like it has a little bit of a favorable tone. Of course, depending on the data we get, because it seems to change this market from day to day. Bond market today, yields falling, prices climbing, people buying bonds. The 10-year drops 12 basis points. Boom, that's a pretty big fall, down to 3.86 on the 10-year. So hopefully that'll provide a little relief for mortgages. The 2-year drops 16 basis points, 4.74% of the 2-year. So, wow, these bond markets, I'm telling you guys, we've seen moves like this pretty regularly. Moves above 10 basis points are not something that happens very often in the bond market, but it seems like it's getting to be more and more frequent with this market, and I guess all the uncertainty attached to it. So there you have it. The bond market rallies nicely. I guess, the conclusion, we'll get into that a little more when we talk about the actual CPI, but I guess the conclusion is, the Fed's winning its fight, and, they may be nearing the end of this cycle. The market pretty much factoring in 100% another increase coming up at the end of this month in July. August, there'll be no open market committee meeting, so now all the speculation goes to September, October, and we'll see. I really was in the camp that we would probably see 2 more rate increases. That was Powell's message, which has been backed up by Daly and several other Fed governors. It looks like, that's pretty much where their mind is made up. I really don't believe we're really the end of this yet, even though the inflation numbers are coming down. The core number, annoyingly high. So I still think there's work for the Fed to do, and I think they're going to do it. Dollar today, well, with the fear of the Fed, hikes being done, the dollar really took crap today, down 1.07 on the index to 100.55 on the dollar index. That's a pretty big come down. It was just 104, less than 2 weeks ago. So the dollar continuing its slide down as the market digests the idea that, maybe the end of this cycle's coming for the Fed. Well, with the dollar tanking, gold and silver rocking today, man. Gold jumps $25.30, $1,957.50 for an ounce of gold. Silver up 96 cents an ounce today, $24.11 for an ounce of silver. So solid numbers for gold and silver today. Not a surprise with the dollar where it is. And I think, I've been telling you guys, I really believe there's room for the upside on gold and silver. And I still believe there is. It's gonna happen. Oil today, another big day for oil, up $1.12 per barrel, $75.95 for a barrel of West Texas Intermediate, getting a little bit out of that trough between 70 and 75. So now we're going to start watching oil a little bit more closely here. I really believe that this rally, and it could even rally further, but I don't believe it's a rally that's going to stick. I believe before we know it, we're going to be right back into that trough between 70 and 75 per barrel. Bitcoin today, down small, $354, 30,269 for Bitcoin. Still a good, strong number for Bitcoin. I think that, you know, if I was an investor in Bitcoin, holding it as in my portfolio, I'd be pretty happy right now. And because with all this tumult and all of the negative stuff that's been happening in the crypto sphere, I think that you know, this is a pretty good number for Bitcoin. And I think, you know, if one of these ETFs comes online or more, you're going to see a pop in this Bitcoin number, guys. All right, so news you need. Let's talk about this CPI. So we've been projecting this all day, or all week leading up to today, that today was going to be a huge day. CPI numbers come in. The numbers moving the Fed's way again, okay? Top line, falling from 4% annual inflation last month to 3% this month. That's a pretty big fall. Economists expected the number to come in at 3.1%, so they beat the economists' projections. That's a huge move, man. You know, bringing inflation numbers down that much in 1 month, pretty strong. The core inflation falls to 4.8% annual rate, down from 5.3% last month. Experts had it penciled in at 5%, so also beating the experts' predictions on core inflation. So very good numbers, man. You know, this is telling us that you know, what the Fed has been doing is working on these inflation numbers. It tells us also, you know, whether we want to believe it or not, the economy is starting to cool in spite of these big job numbers. Now, these numbers are a little bit misleading, though, because, you know, they annualize it, they go by a year ago, so June to June, right? Well, last June was a pretty big spike, so it makes this decline look a little bit bigger than it really is, right? But the numbers are still quite a bit further away from the Fed target, I think, than the Fed would like, especially the core number. You take away food and gasoline, which are way more volatile, and those numbers are starting to come down, believe it or not. I haven't really seen much relief with my gas tank, but they keep telling us prices are coming down. Now, I know that a lot of you viewers are very skeptical about any government numbers that are presented, and rightfully so. You know, our government is less than truthful sometimes, or more than sometimes. So I understand why you would be skeptical, right? Now, the sad part is these are the numbers we get, guys. These are the numbers that every economist, trader, investor, professional, and everyone is going to use on Wall Street to make their calculations on the economy and what's coming next, right? So, I mean, all in all, a pretty good day for the U.S. economy today. A pretty good day for the consumer with prices coming down. It's still not as evident coming down as it was going up. You know, when we were seeing some of these prices and the big spikes we were getting over the last year, you know, going to the supermarket was just a mind-blowing thing. But the price, you know, even the big staples are coming down in price now. Eggs were obnoxious, and you couldn't even get them in some places. You know, now coming back to a more normal pricing. You know, all the staples are coming down a little bit. Food, you know, steaks are still up, right? Chicken's still higher. Fish is outrageous. But, you know, overall, the Fed doing what it has to do to get these inflation numbers closer to their targets. I think it's, to paraphrase Winston Churchill here, I don't think that this is the beginning of the end for this inflation fight. but it probably is the end of the beginning. So now we move into the next step of this fight. It's going to, the funny thing is, I really believe it's going to be significantly harder for the Fed to get that top line number from 3 to 2, to get that core number from 4.8 to 2, than it was for the Fed to get the top line from 9% last August to 3% today. Everything's going to be way more compact. We're not going to have the big spikes coming forward in the months they're going to measure like we did this, a year ago in June. So I think their work gets a little bit tougher for them. That's why I still believe we're going to get 2 more hikes this year. Also, all of this is like so very fragile, guys, right? Any bad news that comes along, any change in the perception of the way things are going, it's going to turn this whole thing around. So it's going to be fascinating to watch it. It makes tomorrow a huge, monstrous day. Because tomorrow we'll get the PPI numbers, the producer price index. And that's a very important gauge, because if producers' inflation is there, that inflation is always going to get passed down to the consumer level. So it kind of foreshadows what we're going to see coming forward on the CPI numbers. So that's going to be a huge number tomorrow. And also every Thursday we get the initial unemployment claims. They're expecting that to come down, but very smallly. So we'll see, man. It's going to be a fascinating day tomorrow. A lot of big data coming. It's going to be a big finish to the week. I'm hoping that we can get some of these yields down and give consumers some relief. For my own personal interest too, mortgages. You can't have $450,000 houses with mortgages in the 7s. So anyway, interesting, fascinating day today, and a big day coming tomorrow. So of course we'll be here to bring you guys the news you need. Before I go to that, I just want to talk a little bit about Vegas, crazy town. When I get up in the morning, the first thing I do, I make my coffee, I read 2 newspapers. I read the Las Vegas Review-Journal, our local newspaper. I read the Wall Street Journal. So I'm going through Vegas paper, and what a crazy, wacky day we had here in Vegas yesterday, guys. So 3 things I just want to tell you guys about. You'll laugh. First, we have the crazy guy at Caesar's Palace. I don't know if any of you guys saw this on your local news or national news, but we had some lunatic at Caesar's on the 21st floor. I guess he kidnapped some woman out of the hallway, grabbed her, forced her into his room, had a gun apparently, broke out the window in his room, bringing back horrible nightmare memories here for Las Vegas, because that's the way it went down at Mandalay and the country music festival shootings. But this guy wasn't shooting out the window. He was throwing furniture, the couch, the tables, anything that wasn't nailed down, cushions, mattress from his bed. Anything that wasn't nailed down went out that window into the pool area there at Caesar's Palace. Happily, the person was apprehended without anybody getting shot or anybody getting hurt or killed. But what a wacky scene. And that was on TV. Everybody tripping watching it yesterday. Another guy in Vegas yesterday. The streaker. I guess streaking is back in style, guys. So this guy apparently had a fight, was dressed in nothing but sweatpants, had a fight with another patron at the Flamingo Hotel. Streaking, taking the sweatpants off, streaking through the link in another hotel, and then finally jumping up on a poker table and dancing naked, I guess gyrating, like doing his best Chippendales impression, man, in one of the casinos, guys, okay? So naked, drunken idiot dancing naked on a poker table in a casino in Vegas. Hey, we're the entertainment capital of the world, right? And another knucklehead at the Mandalay Bay decides it's a great idea to ride his motorcycle in the casino. So here's a lunatic riding his dirt bike through the casino, up, down the escalators, through the hallways and the rooms. A lunatic popping wheelies on Las Vegas Boulevard, filming himself, I guess with a GoPro camera. Man, what people will do these days to get on YouTube or get some attention, man, it's a wacky, crazy world, guys. Anyway, I hope that amuses you guys to finish the day. That's it for today. We appreciate your support. We'll be back tomorrow to bring you guys the news you need. If you could, guys, please hit the like button. It changes the algorithm. It gets our videos out in front of more people. As always, again, we appreciate your support. Back tomorrow, PPI unemployment. Till then, guys. Take care.